Right, we're just over halfway, Stugan. 3.5 weeks, a bit more than 3.5 weeks. And it's still super fun. The weather is still about as grey as it was in my first video. It kind of goes back and forth, but when it's nice, it's really nice. And there's a lake, and it's super nice when it's nice. That's my thoughts on lakes. Right now it's kind of gloomy, so getting more work done. And actually I've got loads done. I feel like, I think I was talking about like the cluster system and maybe the segment system a bit last time. But the clusters of guards are done now. I probably don't need to talk too much about those. I've divided ships up into segments, which means a segment is like a rectangular area of gameplay, I'm going to say, where like all those rooms are strongly interconnected. There's lots of ways to loop around, lots of routes. But then that segment is almost self-contained, and it barely connects to other segments. There's like one door between those two segments. And the reason for that is I want you to be able to fit the action on screen easily at a decent zoom level. And I also want to give a good like progression of like you complete this bit and then you move on to this bit, and that's kind of a clear objective. So that's kind of dull, but it's done and it's good. I think it's working well. The more interesting stuff is I've made a bunch of teleporters. And I think I had like a basic teleporter working last time I did one of these, but now I have 3 different types, and they are the visitor, which teleports you a decent distance, but is going to pull you back after 3 seconds. So you can kind of jump in, grab a keycard, and then get pulled back out. And if you're an assassin, you could jump in, kill someone, get pulled back out. If you need to retrieve somebody, pick somebody up, you could jump in and pick them up, but then when you get pulled back, only you get pulled back and you drop them at your feet. Next one is the swapper, where you can switch places with someone, any person, just to click on a person, you switch places with them. I can't remember what the range is currently, but I might make it limitless, like within the ship, or maybe just kind of the rough size of a ship, so the range is not really a consideration. It's more about like, I can do this, but I will then be where the guard was. And is that a good thing, since guards tend to be in clusters now? And that'll vary from situation to situation. The final one is the snake, which is a teleporter that can't go through walls, but it can go any distance, well, pretty much any distance, and it doesn't care how elaborate a route it has to take. So if there's a clear path between you and where you want to go, you can use the snake, and it actually traces the path it would have taken. So it's almost like, it's kind of like time pauses and you go there, and then time starts again, only you see it from in real time, so you instantaneously appear there, and it traces the route that it would have taken to get there. And it doesn't matter what was in that route as long as it wasn't solid. So you can pass through, you know, security cameras or turrets, enemies' field of vision, enemies' field of fire. They won't know you're ever there. It's completely invisible and instantaneous. But you can't pass through even an unlocked door. If a door is shut, even if it's not locked, you can't get through it with a snake. So you get into interesting situations where like you could wait for a guard to open a door and then snake through it. And it's really, really useful for like loads of times when you just want to get past some security to the other side of it. That one, I think you're going to find a lot of those. I think that's going to be a relatively common type of teleporter to find. All of these can be limited use, or they can be rechargeable. There are no infinite ones. I don't think I'll ever have one that just can be used limitlessly. But a rechargeable one would recharge for free every time you return to a station. So it's more like you get 2 teleports this mission. And most of the time you'll be finding disposable ones. The snake is the one I feel pretty safe giving you quite a lot of access to, because it doesn't let you get through security doors. And that's kind of how I structure the levels, is security doors. So teleporters that let you get through those need to be fairly rare, otherwise security cards don't matter, all the ways of hacking, that kind of stuff doesn't matter, you don't need to deal with the clusters of guards, you don't need the key cards, things like that. Immediately, these led to a whole bunch of awesome situations and little tricks and fun things. So if you need to rescue an agent from a ship, an agent is an unconscious person who you need to get back to your station, and usually you have to get through the different levels of security, try to either kill people or get past them, get to the body, then take them all the way back out. Sometimes there's a shorter route back out, and you can use that, but getting in there is the tricky part, as those are like high-level guards, or high security stuff around the body itself. So you could use a swapper, right? You could swap with the person trying to rescue, which would put them back where you started and put you in their cell, basically, which is not so great because although the cells aren't locked right now, they're surrounded by a lot of security, and if you didn't have the keycard to that sector to get in the first place, you wouldn't have the keycard to get out, so you still have to deal with a bunch of security. But the visitor, after you teleport, pulls you back to where you were. And so if you have a visitor and a swapper, you can use the visitor first just to teleport like 3 feet in front of you, then use the swapper to switch places, and then 3 seconds later the visitor says, okay, you need to come back now, and pulls you back to where you were, so now you and the body are both at the start. And that was a thing where, like, I just realised that logically, from as a consequence of how the way these two things work, that tactic should work, and then I tried it, and it did work, and it was fucking brilliant, and I just live for that stuff. That is, like, the heart and soul of the kind of games I want to make, is cool consequences of interesting abilities that are not overpowered, or maybe they are, but that are not, like, not boringly powerful. They're interestingly powerful. They give you some really good advantage, but has some really strong disadvantages as well. And so I'm really excited about that. The other thing I realised about Visitor, you can use it and then just, like, shoot the window of the ship and be rocketed out into space, and all the guards who are in that room come with you, and you're all flying in space, and then the Visitor brings you back, and you're back on that ship and you're fine. Which actually ties into the suction fields, because previously that might not have worked, because suction would still be happening when you got pulled back, but now suction is instantaneous, so you can, the suction force field, like, stabilises the pressure of the ship, so coming back is actually a good thing, so it ties in neatly with that. You can also use a visitor and then get shot. You can use a visitor to teleport into a bunch of guards. They're going to shoot you, they're going to pick you up and try and carry you to the airlock, and then 3 seconds later you're going to zap back to where you already were, probably unconscious. But if you are only, like, if you're bleeding, that's probably a bad thing, because the guards need to kick you out in order for you to have any hope of survival. If you're just unconscious, though, you're going to wake up in a minute, so it's fine. You're teleported just to passed out in some quiet corridor somewhere, and you just wake up again and you've survived. So that stuff's awesome. The other thing I've done just today and yesterday are turrets. I kind of resisted turrets for a long time because I thought I didn't put turrets in gunpoint because I didn't want puzzle solutions to force you to kill anyone. And turrets, although, you know, you could make non-lethal turrets, it starts to get a bit weird. It starts to defy the way players expect them to work. So I put turrets in. I want the heat signature because they fulfill really two really interesting, or two really important goals. Sorry. One is to give, like, texture and danger to the ship layout. Right now only guards are dangerous and everything else is fine. Turrets have really long line of sight, but they're totally automatic rather, so they can't chase you, they can't do anything intelligent, all they do is rotate between all the different entrances to the room they're in. And that's a neat system because I can use it 2 different ways. One is, if the room has multiple exits, then the turret makes interesting lines of threat, you could call them, fields of danger, I don't know, they sound like film titles. And the player can always get past them, so that's cool, and that's a thing I can add anywhere all the time. And then if I put them in a dead end, then they're not going to rotate to any other exits, they're going to be facing the same way all the time, and I've made them, they don't even fire bullets, they fire like an instantaneous beam of death. They're just going to completely annihilate you the second they see you. So they are a hard obstacle, and if you put them in a situation where they're not going to turn around, you just can't get past them unless you have some kind of special tool. And that's how the whole white whale system is meant to work, is that the final ship that you have to board to complete your objective, to do what you want to do in life, is going to be a ship where you just can't board it without special equipment. You're going to need something to get past it. For instance, even the snake teleporter will get you past this turret, because that, you know, lets you skip a bit of space, basically. And that's what I want. I probably need more of those. I don't know how many more. But stuff like that can be reused both as a soft obstacle and as a hard obstacle is really, really good. If I can come up with more of those, that'd be great. As far as the interior game, though, that was kind of my mission, was to make the interior game more interesting. And the last bunch of changes I've done seem to have really hung together well. They connect to each other well. They feel a lot more like a level. And I'm just having so many more situations where something unexpected and funny happens, or I think of a cool tactic. Turrets, I had a few different checklist things to make them do. One is to kill you instantaneously, one is to be turn-offable, so if you can get to them without being shot with them, you just switch them off. The other is be subvertible, and for that I needed some kind of hacking thing. I don't totally know what the final hacking thing is going to look like, but one thing that I really want is hack grenades, right? You could have scrambler grenades in Deus Ex, and I love the idea of a grenade that just explodes and just emits hack, and everything nearby is hacked. It's incredibly gamey, but it's the kind of gaminess I enjoy. So I put in hack grenades in like 5 minutes, and you can throw a hack grenade at a turret, and then it's yours, and now it shoots guards and it doesn't shoot you, and that's really cool. And I found ways to, like, oh, I can't get past this turret, but I can snake past it, and then I can throw a hack grenade back at it, and then the bunch of guards that I just snaked past, I can just fire a gun so that they'll all come running here, and then I can snake back past them, and they will run to the source of the gunshot, which is now where the hacked turret is, and it will just go boom, 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 mow them all down. It's great. So I'm feeling really good about where the interior game is. That's my 10-minute warning. And the thing I'm trying to remember is that, like, my job is to make the interior game better. I will need it to be good enough. I'm choosing my words carefully, but I don't need it to be perfect, because, you know, my old philosophy that I stuck to for most of development is you just get things in there, get everything in there, and then you can see which things need improvement. And I did, and I saw the interior game needed improvement, so I'm improving the interior game. But I need to keep going back to that thing of, like, don't try and perfect anything. Like, no one thing is so important that it must be perfect before you move on. So maybe the interior game is nearly in the state it needs to be for now. Maybe I should move on to not structure stuff yet. The personal goals, the white whale stuff. I do want to do that eventually, but I don't know if it'll be a Stugan thing. But what I'd really like to do while I'm here is, first of all, a quick pass on the first experience the player has. Like, how does a new player get into this? Because right now I've added all this complexity, and right now it just throws it all at you at once. Every ship is big, every ship has turrets, every ship has armoured guards, shielded guards, all that stuff. But I want, obviously, to be able to lead the player into that. And previously I've done dynamic difficulty stuff, and it's not a good approach, I don't think, because just for development reasons, because it means every time I test the game, like, I don't know what difficulty it's on now, and I'm trying to test some advanced feature and it's not spawning it because my difficulty's been reset to 0 invisibly, and it hides so much important stuff from the player. And that's bad for me as a developer, and it's probably bad for a player as well. So I'd much rather have a system where you choose what jobs you do, and it tells you what difficulty they are, so a new player can just choose to do an easy mission. In fact, when they choose a character, I can tell them this is an easy character, this character has loads of perks. Right now the perks aren't in there, so that doesn't really matter. But for missions, definitely you should be able to just say, I want an easy mission, and if you're feeling good about it, then you can choose a hard mission, and just let the player choose at every single stage. That's kind of how I always want difficulty to work as a player, as I don't want to choose up front when I start the game. I want to choose all the time. I'll always be saying, oh, that was easy, I'll do one that's harder than that, please. Or, shit, that was impossible, give me something easier, so I can just, like, get a grip on how the game works. So I'd love to use that while I'm here, both because it needs doing, and also because I haven't been doing any playtesting with other people here. Andrew tried it really early on, but other than that, I haven't really been asking people to come and try it, because I keep thinking, but I just had this really complicated thing, and it's just going to be me explaining that, and it's not optimized for new users, and therefore I'll just learn a bunch of stuff I already know. Yeah, I knew that sucked, I knew that you'd get confused by that, I knew this wouldn't work. So I'd much rather do some work on that initial experience, and I don't want to waste too much time on usability, because things might still change, but this feels pretty fundamental. The idea that the player should choose their level of difficulty, and then all kinds of things about the complexity of the game can be tied to difficulty, and that will all wrap up neatly, and hopefully will not need changing after I've done it. So then I could do some playtesting, and then while playtesting is happening, or kind of, you know, mixing and matching with playtesting, I would like to do some polish stuff, because I've been adding all these things, like turret shoot you and the laser appears for a second and you just vanish, and there's a silenced pistol sound which doesn't suit it, and there's no impact at all. Grenades still just make a kind of faint explosion noise, but there's not a single trace of visual effect. They just vanish and then people fall over. So there's loads of stuff that could really, really benefit from some polish. I want to do some screen shake on wrenches to smack properly. John's done some great animations for that I haven't put in yet. So all that stuff would be good to be working on whilst everything else is in play, and also just playtesting will tell me what the highest priorities are. I'll know whether, you know, maybe I playtest it and people are like, oh my god, the interior game is just the best thing ever, now you should stop working on that completely and move on to structure stuff. Or maybe, more probably, it will have some problems and some bugs and some shortcomings, and maybe people play it and just realise, oh, there's this other thing I should add, because it will just really solve this problem everyone's having. So I think that's my plan for the next few weeks. It would be cool if, like, I did 1 week of new user experience stuff and then another week of polish stuff, and that would leave me with like 1 and a bit weeks maybe to kind of finish up. I don't know what finishing up looks like, but that's what I do.